What is going on, you guys? It's your host, Galadon, Clash Royale Action, Galadon Gaming, and we're talking about the brand new Graveyard card. But first things first, I always say family is first, and I just wanted to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, all of the well wishes for Galamom, all the hashtag Galamom love in the streams, in the YouTube comments, on Twitter. I sincerely appreciate it, and I will tell you this, Galamom believes it helps her. She really does. She feels that positive energy and the positive healing vibes from you guys. She is going through a lot right now, and I really appreciate that. So thank you guys once again. It means a great deal to me that you guys are all part of the hashtag GalaFam. Now we're talking about the Graveyard, this brand new legendary spell coming to the game. Of course, it is confirmed. It's actually happening. We knew it for a while now. We talked about leaks. We've talked about different things coming to the game. But this is actually coming in just a matter of days. And I have to tell you, it's a game changer. Now, we figured the Inferno Dragon pretty crazy. The Sparky, when it showed up, it was equally crazy. But man, the Graveyard, talk about a hard counter to certain cards. There is going to be no chance. Now, of course, it's 5 elixir, so it's not cheap. But think about, and this was the first thing that came to mind, the ultimate nerf to the miner. There is no chance a miner is going to touch your tower if a Graveyard spell is dropped in that area. Now, that may not be what most people think of when they think of using the Graveyard spell on defense by your own tower to stop a miner from getting to it, but think about the possibilities, and this is the great thing about this card. The clutch usage of the Graveyard spell as time runs out. Here comes the miner. You don't know exactly where he is going to drop, so there's nothing you can do to stop him unless you know exactly where he is, or you drop a Graveyard spell throughout that entire area and he never locks onto the tower. I can see a few more 1 hit point survival replays may be happening, and I'm definitely looking forward to those after the Graveyard spell comes out. But I'm also looking forward to the many, many ways that you guys will be able to implement this brand new card. Now, again, it is 5 elixir, very expensive, not going to be easy to save it up and get it off. But think about, just off the top of my head, the cards that it is going to be a great counter for that will not be a negative elixir trade for you. The Bowler, Barbarians, the Prince, of course, the Wizard. Okay, let's get back to the Wizard in a moment. The P.E.K.K.A., 3 Musketeers, Giant Skeleton. All of those cards are going to be really just stopped in their tracks by this Graveyard spell, confused, obviously, ideally eating up the charge of a Prince. Barbarians are going to get confused and stalled, and this again could be something you could use in front of your tower to cause confusion, to slow units down. Of course, Sparky, come on. Sparky has no chance if a Graveyard spell gets dropped. It's going to spin around and go after these skeletons that come out every half second for 10 seconds. That is a long duration for this Graveyard to be in existence. 10 seconds, so you're talking about, I mean, tell me if my math is wrong, but that should be 20 skeletons. 20 skeletons that come out of one deployment of the Graveyard card over a period of 10 seconds. It's almost like having a structure in the area. So many units coming out, and obviously going to give you time, say you deployed on defense within the range of your tower, going to give you time to have a tower grind down on it. Of course, cards like the Golem, they'll just build up around the Golem, and maybe after the first couple seconds, not a great deal. You've got 2-4 skeletons on there, but after 8 seconds, if you've got 16 skeletons on there, a Golem is not going to last long. But then we go back to explosion, death damage that could maybe hinder the effectiveness of the Graveyard card, specifically against the Golem. But again, there's so many different ways that this card could be used. On defense, first things that came to mind, obviously the Miner and the Goblin Barrel. Good way to stop the Goblin Barrel. But again, 5 elixir, it's so expensive. I'm a little bit worried that it's too expensive. You know, there's going to be cards that you might be tempted to use to counter, like the Goblin Barrel or something like that, where you're going to end up in the negative. Whereas if you stalled maybe a minion horde with it, it's a fair elixir trade, but you'd have to do it within range of your tower because obviously the skeletons aren't going to do anything to the minions. So again, lots of different functions for this card. Think about maybe it neutralizing an Inferno Tower. Somebody's got an Inferno Tower down. This thing dropped as your P.E.K.K.A. or your Golem approaches. Definitely going to preserve the life of those units as the Inferno Tower, panicked, tries to go from one target to the next, to the next, to the next, and it just doesn't work out for the Inferno. so maybe that's another place to use it. How will the bomb tower look against a graveyard spell? How's that going to work out? Will the skeletons be able to close in, or will the splash damage take them out 2 by 2? It's really hard to tell. There's so many different possibilities for this card, and this is what I've been talking about all along when I talk about what I want to see in a new card. Now, yes, I still think the Volcnado was pretty cool. Night and Day was the most awesome idea ever, but this is killer. I am excited about this, and it's just a matter of will the balance be right. It's so hard. I can see it's going to be so hard to get cards like this to not be OP or not be useless, and that's why we continue to see so many balance changes. Again and again, these balance changes, some cards being nerfed twice, buffed then nerfed, nerfed then buffed, buffed then nerfed, then buffed then nerfed. You never know what's going to happen. Again, it really comes down to what cards are being used the most in the meta. If you see the same cards over and over again, you're going to see a nerf. It's almost guaranteed. Right now, everybody hates watching the Giant and the Poison Spell. I would not be a bit surprised if we saw changes to those cards. What are the most underused cards? What might we see buffed? Love the Log. We heard a lot of loving the Log, but have we seen buffing the Log? Not that much. At least not to the point that we've seen much use of the Log yet. Definitely another card that is gathering dust in the decks of most people right now. So I'm hoping that we will see this continued balance to bring out the cards that aren't that exciting and to slow down the cards that are just dominating the meta. Where will the graveyard card fit? It is up to you guys. I, again, as always, will be turning to you guys to get those replays, those exciting ideas, and I would love to hear them down below in the comments. If you guys would let me know where you think the graveyard spell would be most effective, and maybe leave me an idea or two that you think is outside the box. Now, these cards themselves are definitely outside the box. I mean, who would have imagined a barrel that has goblins in it that you throw across the screen? Another question, who's throwing the barrel? How is a barrel getting thrown that far? That seems like a pretty heavy barrel. Now, goblins probably only weigh 15 or 20 pounds each, but that's still, those barrels, I don't know if you guys have been to a winery, but those barrels weigh like 50 pounds. So that's like 100, okay. Anyway, I digress. So, I'm just saying, the cards are unusual. They're different. It's super cool to see. The Ice Golem, is it going to be effective? I don't know. From you guys showing me your replays and your decks, I'm not super excited about the Ice Golem yet. But then again, it's super cheap and it has its moments. The Graveyard, 5 Elixir, definitely more of an investment. But I'm thinking it's going to be key on offense. Any card that is this expensive is going to have some offensive usage. What if the graveyard card goes down and then you throw in a miner after it on offense? Or pretty much any card that is on its way across the river at that point with a 10-second duration of this card. Again, it comes down to the old fundamental. Use one card or troop to distract the tower, use the other to knock it down. The skeletons themselves probably not going to do a great job at taking a tower down alone. But throw in a graveyard spell and a mini P.E.K.K.A. and you've got a deadly combination right there. Just about anything that's going to be quick, a Hog Rider, anything that you can make live longer, it's going to be a lot of fun. And this is exactly where I wanted to see the game going. Expanding the cards like this so that there is going to be a continuing growth of diversity in decks. We do not want to see the same old stale giant poison attacks time and time again. It doesn't make it fun for you, the player. It doesn't make it fun for me, the content creator, either. I want to see diversity, and that is where I think we are headed, especially now that this is the last card in this last group. Could that mean we're due for another update soon? I hope so. And should it mean another update where we have staggered cards? Or could this be the continued pattern moving into the future? Imagine if, for the foreseeable future, we got a new card every 2 weeks. That is exactly how you need to work to keep the interest in a game growing and sustained over a long period of time. And thought and thinking like that is what is going to make this game last for years, just like we've seen Clash of Clans last for years. So I've got high hopes, and again, I want to hear your guys' input. Let me know where you think the graveyard spell is going to best fit in your deck. Thank you guys, as always, for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Hit that subscribe button. Get ready for the newest and earliest update and sneak peek information. Hashtag GalaFam, and I hope to see you all back here again tomorrow for more full attacks. If you didn't let me talk, this video would be under 10 minutes.